The next thing I want to discuss is the contract with Gary Johnson campaign. Now, in the past 5 minutes, we need to come to a resolution on this within 5 minutes. Basically, we've got a real simple challenge in front of us. I believe we have to do everything we can to facilitate the effectiveness of the Gary Johnson campaign, which means sharing certain information about our donors, not their donations, but certainly contact information. Every 4 years we have negotiated with the president and for what he will provide. I don't have a copy of the most recent contract. I was the chief of operations of the veterinary campaign, so I knew exactly what it was we got. And at that point, we got a list that included names and addresses and emails with the agreement that we would not distribute it further. We would use it. Emails were unlimited use. Mailings were limited to 3 uses. And so I'm seeking advice from the people who've been on, who are hopefully on the last LNC, and give me some guidance and give me the permission to negotiate with Gary Johnson so that we can move forward. Discussion. Mr. Clay.
One of the problems that we had with the Harry Brown campaigns and our Libertarian National Headquarters is when we began, we didn't realize how important it was to make sure that all arrangements were reciprocal. What we did for the party did for us. What they did for us, we did for them. I want to make sure that our arrangement with the Johnson campaign is a reciprocal, not a one-sided, let's help them and the hell with us. Everybody ought to win in our bargains. That's my suggestion.
Well, I think when you're...
you need to be recognized, sorry. Brett?
I'm going to echo what Mr. Cloud said. We'll take that to another level. I believe that there should be content sharing as well. What I mean by that is blog content. The Libertarian Party should have full access to all Gary Johnson copyrighted materials so we can disseminate that as well.
That might be useful.
What I want to hear is the ideas of the kind of things we should be sharing back and forth as like a laundry list. And then I want to hear from you which ones you do and don't object to, because what I want to come out of this with as quickly as we can is a laundry list of what we want, what we're not going to allow, so that we can move forward. Is everybody's cool with that? Did you have a point you wanted to make?
I had just, you asked how we might want to share it with someone, but I was going to make a suggestion along those lines. That is that, as you know, I've been pushing this Libertarian Solutions videos idea, and along those lines I took the liberty to ask Gary Johnson and Jim Gray today to be videotaped, and one or two of them actually did that, and we have footage. My idea was to just post stuff. They both welcomed the idea, and put that front and center of our website frequently. There's no cost involved there, really.
John?
Well, the one thing I was going to mention is when you are in the negotiation process, the one thing I would be stressing with them is how that this time around is the kind of build the stage. And then it'll be in 2016 when we might be able to put on the show. And so, I mean, stressing that to him might give him much more incentive to give us more mailers, more email lists, more contact information for people who might be kind of shares, etc.
Norm?
If you get a list from them, we'd certainly like to get an idea of the donor capability. Talking about the actual dollar amounts contributed, but
some things when it comes to sharing certain information, I'm not sure of the FTC implications, and I certainly will run those. You can run it by Paula, is that name? Paula Edwards? To make sure we don't have any problems. I don't know, but I agree it's great. That sounds great, and it should go on the list. Yes.
Particularly information going back and forth, obviously some sort of appropriate confidentiality and non-disclosures. Also, to make sure the campaign is informing the state shares of events and media contacts they have locally, which are definitely could be leveraged for the more local campaigns.
And in reciprocal, then what we're saying is that we would share our media contact list with them, and they would reciprocate with the same, so that we can build, correct? Mr. Wright?
Certainly, I would expect the campaign to ask for our donor lists and our membership lists. We need to give our chair some sort of direction as to how we should handle those share that information as well.
And specifically, just to clarify, what I'm asking for, and I'm hoping hopefully somebody will make a motion to that extent, is I'm asking for permission to enter into a contract with the body and not have to wait till July to enable them to move Liberty forward. All clear? Time is up on this.
Motion to extend
For what period of time, sir?
3 minutes.
Is there any objection to extending for 3 minutes? Hearing none, so ordered.
Well, actually, I was going to, go ahead.
Thank you. Your word was brief. I'll come back.
I move that the chair be unable to enter a negotiation for a list exchange and list usage reasonable times, not once every 3 months, perhaps once every 3 weeks, for the Johnson campaign. One experience that I've found in my work with the Center for Small Government, the Brown campaigns, is, pardon me.
We need just the motion.
Pardon me. The motion is that we're allowing the chair to enter into lists exchange, including timeframes within which they would be able to use.
Okay.
That's all of it.
There's a second.
Yes.
This motion is going to give the chair the power to make the contract. Is that your intent, or do you want him to examine the contract and bring it back to us?
I would request that it be decided and agreed to by the 4 officers. If all of us put stuff into the stew, we're going to be asking for trouble. I think we have 4 good officers. I would trust them.
As a suggestion, if we're going to do 4, then I suggest that we give the authority to the executive committee to approve this contract. I prefer that I not be the only person. Is that something that would be acceptable?
I accept that as a friendly amendment.
Yes, Norm?
I'd just like to ask that, you mentioned email unrestricted, that I would suggest that we restrict email to a certain frequency once a week.
Oh, that's built into the motion, including frequency of use. Pardon me.
I believe this motion was seconded, correct? Who was the seconder?
Brett.
McGinnis was the seconder. Just want to make sure we have that recorded. Further discussion?
Information, are we talking email and postal lists?
Yes.
We're talking all this information. I mean, of course, what that means to me is well.
I just heard the email being discussed, so.
Well, for me, it was, we're talking direct mail, we're talking email, we're talking exchange information. Just to make it clear, I will not exchange donor information in terms of monies. I will, if you approve, say this is our donor list last 2 years, whatever we say, whatever they want, like that, but it won't include who's our whale. Do we have a whale?
We got 6.
On that list, are you, because as part of the deal, I know there'll be confidentiality. How does that confidentiality apply to states, et cetera? Like, for the state of Texas would do much more good with the information of a mailer who's gotten involved with the Gary Johnson campaign locally. That would do a lot of good for the state of Texas. Is this something that...
Well, I can answer that pretty quickly. I mean, in terms of I understand how the exchange of information works, and because time is up, but if we exchange the list with Gary Johnson, part of it will be how frequently, how much lag there is, we want to get it quickly.
Yes.
When that comes international into our database, that goes as part of the monthly dumps that go out to the states. It would be passed through, unless we've changed how things work, but I think that's, Robert, we're out of time, but do you have something very quick?
I would be willing to, because of the number of names and the business that we're going to be involved in, I would be willing to do dumps twice a month through November.
Okay, most generous of you. Time is expired on this, which means we'll move to a vote. Could you please restate the motion so everybody's clear?
Got it, because it's a little convoluted. Mr. Cloud moved that the executive committee be authorized to enter into negotiation with the Johnson campaign to formulate a contract including use of mail and email list with regular, I'm kind of lost at this point.
Reciprocity.
With reciprocity. Yes.
I wanted to use that word.
Don't start using the word preemption.
Okay, with reciprocity and regular reviews?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Yeah, with the
That's your point of information?
Point of information for the secretary, I believe, was also part of the motion, or it was eventually pointed out that the executive committee would approve this.
And that is what the motion
So
says.
move that the executive committee is authorized to enter into negotiation.
Or actually, I believe it actually states that the executive has authority to sign a contract.
Yes,
That was,
I accept that as a friendly amendment.
that was at least the intent of the discussions, I
Yes.
believe. Any other points of order or information or move to extend time, because that's all that's really in order right now.
Phone numbers, I didn't hear that.
It is my interpretation that it would include phone numbers.
Okay, great.
Yes, well, it starts out actually in hand. Yes, sir. Point of information?
Yes, I thought the motion was to enable the chair to conduct these negotiations. Someone just mentioned the executive committee.
That was offered as friendly and accepted that it should be the executive committee that is given the authority to enter into a contract. Our bylaws specify the contract's going to be entered into by this body, but they can delegate that authority to the executive committee, which is what this effect does. No discussion? Do you have further point of information?
No, it's a discussion.
There is no discussion allowed. The question has been called. We're sorry, we're out of time.
Can I read this over, because I want to make sure that, because I think this is important. So Mr. Cloud moved that the executive committee is authorized to enter into negotiation with the Johnson campaign to formulate a contract, including use of email lists, and phone numbers with reciprocity and regular reviews, and has with the authority by the chair to sign such a contract.
It's the opposite. If the chair can enter into negotiations, the executive committee has to approve.
Yes, so, yeah.
I'm fine with the executive committee negotiating, because the executive committee,
No.
whatever makes you happy makes one person.
Yeah, okay. So the motion is,
How am I going?
read the first part aloud.
Mr. Cloud moved the executive committee is authorized to enter into negotiation with the Johnson campaign.
Enter into and conclude negotiations with the Johnson campaign.
That's just a negotiation process.
Since we're still modifying the motion, I'd like to make an amendment.
Well, first off, a motion to amend at this time is out of order because we're out of time.
But I feel like
If there's a point, sorry, if I don't hear a motion to extend and you haven't been recognized, yes, sir.
Would the rest of the LNC be able to see this before it was signed?
Absolutely. This would be reported back to you after it was concluded, and if there's time for that.
My question was before it was signed. Yes.
No, you don't want that.
Yes.
No, you don't. I don't care what you do.
It would
Mark that down, I apologize, I broke it first.
I would say that the one thing I'd say at this point right now is we are best served if we enter into this relationship together with at least a modicum of trust. We have very limited time. Full disclosure does not mean everybody gets to decide on everything that happens. It means everything is disclosed. Negotiations between 18 people is not additive and not efficient enough, efficacious. That's another word I've been wanting to see for a long time. I will certainly disclose what it is the executive committee approves as soon as it's approved. But I will not burden them with all the details and discussions in the meantime. Yes, you have a point of order.
I just wanted clarification. It was not a statement of trust on the part of the executive committee, merely knowing if the rest of the LNC would get to see the contract before it was signed.
It would not be my intent to do that because for one simple reason, it would be an opportunity for people to go, wait a minute, stop, change. I'm saying the executive committee, I'm asking them to be authorized in order that this can be concluded and we can take advantage of this election cycle as soon as possible. Now, if you don't pick the right people for the executive committee, which we might not get to if we don't move on, nobody will be able to do it. Is there a point of order?
Not a point of information, it was just I was questioning in regards, do you foresee this being costly? I mean, this isn't the type of...
I'm sorry, but that is out of order. Right now, we are out of time. So unless you're asking a question about what the motion is, what the procedure is, and you don't ask to extend time, we are going to move to a vote. Does anybody need the motion reread? I don't hear that, so sorry.
Yeah, I would like to hear the motion reread, because I'm not sure who signs it, who hears it.
Okay. Mr. Cloud, I've been massaging this as we go. Mr. Cloud moved that the executive committee is authorized to enter into and conclude negotiation with the Johnson campaign to formulate a contract, including use of mail, email lists, and phone numbers, with reciprocity and regular reviews.
We will move to a vote. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
The order's today, then you don't have to ask for objection. We're out of time. You move to a vote. I don't have to ask for it.
I'm saying,
I understand. Lee, follow me. This is part I get. We are moving to a vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Is there any objections to this?
Roll call.
Okay, then we'll do.
No, please start, John. If I, point of personal privilege. If nobody objects, it's unanimously yes. These meetings, the time is too precious to go through a roll call vote when obviously everybody votes yes.
It's not unanimous, yes.
Well, so then the right response when I say is there any objection is to say yes. Not to say can I have a roll call vote, because if you say yes, we are required to do a roll call vote,
I
okay?
misunderstood. I think you're asking if there was objection to moving to a vote.
Okay.
No, okay, guys, read Roberts. Read Roberts, please. If you don't get it, listen. I'm not going to explain it. We're moving to a roll call vote.
As best I can.
So we'll start, how do you want to do this as secretary? This is the most efficient.
I think probably just sort of randomly reading names as I got them in here.
That's fine. And normally in the future, you will
I have a lovely
do a
official
spreadsheet
form.
that matches people.
And randomly looking at this, I'm going to say Vicki Kirkland.
Vicki,
Voting yes?
How do you vote, Vicki Kirkland?
Yes.
Dan Weiner.
yes.
Norm Olson.
Aye.
Diane Visick.
Yes. Diana.
I'm sorry.
My name is Diana.
I apologize. I am still learning my way around. I apologize. Bill Redpath.
Thumbs up.
That's a yes.
Rich Tomaso.
Yes.
Jillian Mack.
Yes.
That's yes, Jillian, and yes on the motion.
Correct.
John Jay
Yes.
Starchild.
No.
Jim Lark.
Aye.
Brett Pajunas.
Yes.
Michael Cloud.
Amen. That's Latin for so be it.
I'm sorry, Arvin?
Yes.
Yes. Tim Hagan.
Yes.
Lee Wright.
I don't.
Jeff Neal.
Yes.
Ruth Bennett, yes. Who did I miss? Did I miss anybody?
Wayne Root.
Oh, I'm sorry, Wayne Root.
You can never miss the Root
Well, it's
cabal.
just, it's because you weren't in my first call. I'm sorry.
Sitting at the table, come on.
Okay, Mr. Root.
Enthusiastic, yes.
All right, then,
Then we'll have, the chair declares, the chair declares that the motion is passed. Mr. Lark.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's appropriate for us to recognize that Judge Jim Gray, the vice presidential candidate, is in.
Interrupting, I won't take but 6 more seconds, but I want to thank you for your support. We, as the campaign, are going to support the Libertarian Party, the LNC. We're going to work well together. I look forward to it. I commend you all. And any problems that you may have, talk to us. And if all else fails, talk to me. We're going to resolve this working together for exactly what we all want to have happen.
Just a personal request. I've seen, and I know that Dr. Johnson did, Mr. John, whatever. The governor just got the nomination yesterday, there is a lot of literature that I've seen so far that doesn't have the word libertarian. And I would respectfully request going forward, the word libertarian appear on all literature developed for this point forward here.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm going to confess to you that I had a campaign handout all prepared, and I didn't prove it well enough, and it actually said on it that Thomas Jefferson authored the Constitution. That's not true. It said libertarian on it, but they tore that out and did other stuff. The answer to your question is yes.
Mr.
Point of due diligence, of course, the campaign presidential ticket. Have all the proper forms been signed? My understanding is that there would be an effort to obtain signatures on appropriate forms concerning the various states. Do we know whether that has been done? It's a good opportunity to do it while the presidential and vice presidential candidates.
The one I have signed is from the state of Washington. Others I have not signed.
There was a problem with the forms that were here, I believe, because actually the wrong city was listed for Governor Johnson. It was Taos, New Mexico, and my understanding it actually technically was in another town or city. But somebody knows about it, I'll put it that way.
At least you know.
Damn if I know who, but somebody knows about it, and this is going to be used.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Let's do it.